Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Cameron Kelly Smith and today I'm joined by one of my best friends in the whole wide world, Bonnie Fonseca, where on this YouTube channel every single week we're going to delve into movie reviews, wrestling reviews, and sometimes other related topics of discussion. But today we're here to give a spoiler-filled review of Spider-Man Far From Home. As I said, this is a spoiler-filled review, so if you have seen the movie, great. But if you haven't and you want to avoid spoilers, come and check out this video later on because we're going to delve into everything that happened in this movie and not holding anything back. Or if you haven't seen the movie and you don't care about spoilers, then screw it, man. Let's just jump into the conversation. So, Bonnie. So we saw this movie last night.
Damn. Are you going to talk about the... yeah. Alright, let's talk about the first thing, about the reveal at the end.
The post-credits, bro.
I think that was the best post-credit scene I've ever seen.
100%. Like...
that and Nick Fury coming out in Iron Man 1, that's a close second.
I agree. No, I agree.
Like I don't think you understand. Because when we see Jay... like...
it's seeing J.K. Simmons again, yeah? But this time he doesn't have hair on the top, and it's just so funny. You see the like when I saw that, we all popped. Like,
bro,
we was like,
people were like kicking the chairs.
Bro,
like, there was people like going crazy. I was thinking, wait, are they really doing this right now? Because last time we saw him, he was in DC saying you didn't know.
Mate, he was saying you know about Commissioner Gordon in Justice League. So it's like seeing him again though, like because you brought up a good point. Like when we were on the bus journey, like coming home yesterday, you were talking about how the fact that they was open to bring him back.
Yeah,
like,
is a good sign. I was now like, because we had a conversation and we was talking about how Wilson Fisk from Daredevil is the most amazing casting for Wilson Fisk.
Yeah.
And if they ever bring Wilson Fisk, who's a big enemy of Spider-Man, I would like to see him up against Tom Holland.
Yeah.
And you was talking about the fact that because the TV and movies are so separate, how they might just try and reboot and recast it.
Yeah.
But the fact that they brought in J.K. Simmons for this tells me if they know someone's right for it and they have the means to bring them back, they're going to. Which means, in my mind, I don't think there's anyone that can do a better job of Wilson Fisk than the guy who's currently playing him in Daredevil now.
Yeah, is it Vincent D'Onofrio, right?
Yeah.
I mean, bro, when I saw that post-credit scene, and then not to mention, like, obviously we're kind of working a little bit backwards here, but the reveal that Jake Gyllenhaal's like as Mysterio basically revealed Peter's identity to the world, I could not believe what I was seeing. Like,
what was crazy was first, not only did he say that Pete was the bad guy, he was now like, how Spider-Man framed me, and then they cut the video to make it seem like he was executing people in London.
Yeah.
And then he was now like, how he said he was the only one that's going to be turning the next Iron Man and stuff like that. And that was... what was crazy was then he revealed to everyone who he was. Yeah, and that to me was the one that I was just like, I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah,
the fact that Jake Gyllenhaal said, it's time that anyone knows that he's Peter Parker.
And it's the fact that like, because I was watching an IGN video yesterday, shout out to IGN, where they were like doing a little review of like Spider-Man Far From Home, and one of the guys was saying that he wasn't too keen on like Mysterio at the beginning of the movie, but he felt that when Mysterio died, the fact that the last thing he did before he died was to reveal Peter's identity, like it kind of does cement him as like a true like foe.
Like the thing about this, why the post-credit scene was so amazing for me is because this whole movie was on even Mysterio as a villain, everything about him was about the lies that we tell. People will believe it if we shape them right. Everything about it, and obviously it's a current thing. So everything about Mysterio, I kind of started liking more and more. I was hearing, and he was talking about how even his last line when he was dying was, "People believe in the lies that we tell them," or something along the lines of that. And that just had a nice bow on it, where he was now like, and Jameson is the greatest person when it comes to believing the lies and the conspiracies. Because in this rendition, he's like a conspiracy theorist. He's not like an online kind of. He's not really like an editor, because that's what his original role was. But in this one, he's more like a conspiracy theorist that everyone just watches. When you want to see the conspiracy theory, then they're like, the Avengers are all bad guys. They'll just go watch that. You see what I mean? And what I loved about Mysterio was now like, he really had control of the information that was getting out there.
That's a really good point.
At that time.
That's actually a very, very good point.
And the biggest thing about this reveal is, to me, it told me we're separating Peter Parker from being this is his turn. He's forced into being a man. Because something that I really wanted to bring up to you yesterday is the two movies, what I enjoyed about the villains and what I enjoyed about what they're doing with Peter Parker in the MCU, and they've done it before, is they're really hammering the fact that Peter Parker has to become a man before he's ready to become a man, and they keep hammering it and on the head with that. Yeah. Like they done it with Vulture when he was now like, you're not ready to make these sort of decisions because you don't know how hard it is. Yeah. And then they done it with Gyllenhaal again, and he's not like, the person you're looking up to isn't incredible. And like there's stuff that comes with being an adult that you don't understand. Yeah. And I think revealing his secret identity kind of like forces him to be a man before he's ready.
That's true. Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, because we'll delve into like where we think this could lead and speculate on what we could lead, but where it could lead. But like, just as a little like brief thing right off the top, like, what was your like overall opinion of the movie? Like your overall thoughts, like in terms of, did you enjoy it? Like, what was your opinion?
See, I think the movie was amazing, like crazy. I think Gyllenhaal smashes it out the fucking like park. Yeah. I think Tom Holland did a really, really good job. I think he has to tackle a lot of things in this one that he hasn't had to tackle before, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like that plane scene, I liked it because it kind of showed how vulnerable he is. Yeah. In general. And it kind of showed him, for once, I think, kind of maturing. Yeah. As a man. And like even that last scene reminded me of the actual Spider-Man game, where if you haven't played it, amazing game.
Well, when he's like swinging through like the sea,
But when he's talking to Dr. Ock and talking about how he looked up to him, and he has to make like big decisions in that game, and I started to see the sparkles of this one in here. Especially when he was talking to Mysterio, and he was now like, "I'm not gonna let you do this." Yeah. And talking about what he needs to do and stuff like that. I just saw the Spider-Man. I saw Peter becoming a man, kind of on screen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because like to piggyback off your point, like I love this movie. Like I absolutely love this movie. Like for me, what makes this movie for me personally is the cast. Like, and I'm talking about from Zendaya to Jacob Batalon to the girl that plays Betty, so I don't know her name, and even the guy that plays Brad, and to the two teachers as well. Like that, literally, I could actually even watch like just that school group alone, because we were talking about how people were saying in advance of this movie coming out that the pacing was a little bit off, especially in the first half of the movie, or a little bit slow. But I personally loved the first half. Like I could sit there and watch that school class just go on a school trip for a whole movie, and I would have enjoyed it. And I think it's because of the fact that it's so relatable. Like we've all been there, where it's like we've been on those school trips where you're trying to impress a girl and there's someone else that's trying to impress a girl. Do you know what I mean? It's just so relatable.
What I loved about it, and what I kind of disliked about it, was now like I loved the fact how normal it was. What I disliked about it was this is this is the Endgame's next film after it. Yeah. That's where I kind of was now like, I was looking at it, I was like, where's this going? And it paid off in a really, really good way. But I was thinking that for too long in my head, if that makes sense. I agree. Because in my head, I was just thinking, Endgame was the movie that came right before this. They talked about the blip, which I wanted to talk about that. The way they explained post Endgame how the world works, I think was amazing.
Yeah, I think. And can I just point out Whitney Houston at the beginning of that movie? Like, that just set the tone. As soon as I heard that, like, the opening of this movie,
the first 5 minutes explains kind of a lot of the questions we had on the movie in a very, very simplistic way, which I kind of just like, I was just like, oh, okay, this is the world we live in now. Okay, sweet. Yeah. And to kind of go back onto Mysterio says in his like little change, and we're going to talk about that, where he's talking to his like villain conference, talking about the fact that how easy it is to fool people now. Yeah. Because the blip happened, and you can come up with like these radical lies, and no one's really going to question you at that point. Which I found like that's a lot of leeway for a lot of like villains to now come in.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, because to piggyback off that, like you're talking about Gyllenhaal, I thought Gyllenhaal was fantastic. Like I think that going into this movie, obviously, like there was a ton of questions in regards to, is this Mysterio actually going to be a good guy? Yeah. But then we all thought, okay, come on, like due to his comic book origins, it has to be a Rouge, which it was, and it was great. But I think what did help is like even when Peter is having that discussion with Mysterio on like the rooftop, when I think I'm gonna say Venice or Prague, I can't remember exactly, but when like they're having the little discussion where Peter's basically saying, you know, he just wanted to come here on the trip, and like it really gave off the impression that like Mysterio was Peter's like older brother, or like a real mentor figure. So that way when the betrayal happens, it hit me more, or like I feel like it hits you more because it feels like that trust has been broke. The only thing I would say, and that we did talk about this, is like this movie, like Tony Stark. For as much as I love Tony Stark, I love the character of Iron Man. His influence is just it's in my opinion, it's all over this movie, and I think that I could have done with it taken away a little, like just pull back a little bit. But don't get me wrong, I'm not too mad at it. But I think even like when Mysterio comes out and he's talking to like his crew, who we find out are all ex-employees of Stark Industries, and it's like in Homecoming, Vulture was ask yourself how many times these people like in Vulture in Homecoming was an ex-employee I think of Stark Industries, and it's
like I said to you yesterday, the big thing that I took away from it was the fact that I felt like this movie was the last movie that we had to rely on. Yeah. And the reason why I believe that not only was how they transferred and him making his own suit, but was also the reveal at the end with the Daily Bugle and everything. That told me that we was done with this chapter in his life. And he's now in a whole different chapter, and we have to focus on this. That's why I wasn't, in my head, even when I was watching it, it just felt like this was the last time we was going to get that Tony influence on his life like that. As much in the movie. And that's why I was liking all the stuff. That's why I was liking him having so much influence, like taking out and stuff like that.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
But the one thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that what I've loved, what they were doing with Spider-Man villains from Homecoming to now, is they're making them really kind of not down to earth, but like working people. Which I really, really like. And I've noticed this trend is that like even with the Vulture, he was just like, you understand why he would do such a thing.
Yeah, I get that.
And they're not like, even though Gyllenhaal was now saying over and over again, this is an Avenger type situation.
Yeah.
Like this what the Avengers come. What I took away from that was now like when he was having his big speech, was now like every Spider-Man villain that we've had so far has been someone who's been screwed over by government or by someone big, and they're all small. And in that kind of sense, it kind of brings Spider-Man, even though he's facing something really big and galactic, kind of down to earth, which keeps him kind of neighborhood-esque. Like, it kind of keeps him down to the neighborhood, because all these people that he's facing with Vulture, with Gyllenhaal, they're all people who've been screwed over by big corporations or by the government.
Yeah.
Who are trying to find their own way about it.
Yeah.
And the interesting fact that comes around that is now like, these people wouldn't have been bad if it wasn't for that.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I mean, like, and straight off the bat, like, I just want to make sure that I make this very clear, because I really want it to be apparent. Tom Holland, in my opinion, after this movie, I think without a shadow of a doubt, he's the best Spider-Man we've ever had. Like, he's honestly the best Spider-Man we've ever had. And you know what? Like, I'm a huge Zendaya fan, and I know that in the first movie, there was a lot of people who were like, okay, we're not too sure about this romance. She's not actually Mary Jane. She's kind of like a spin on it, blah, blah, blah. But I thought their chemistry in this movie was great. Like, and as I said, Jacob Batalon, the guy that plays Ned, and the girl that plays Betty, I'm sorry, I don't know her name. Like, that relationship of them, like, they, like, that's the thing. That's what I'm, like, what I was talking about earlier on in regards to, like, we've all been there. Like, it's so relatable in a sense where we've been on those school trips. We know people that have maybe been in a relationship for, like, a day. Like, we've been there. And that's why I was like, it's so relatable. But I think that goes back to the character of Spider-Man, why people love him so much, because it is such a relatable story. Like, but one thing I did want to ask you is in regards to that second post-credit scene, in terms of Nick Fury and the Skrulls.
You see, what that told me, because in my head, what I'm thinking about is we haven't seen Sword yet.
Yeah.
Which is a major component, and I think this might be their version of Sword.
I think so. I think it's going to be,
But what that's telling me, and I've had this theory about how the MCU's been going, and I've been saying this for quite a while. I believe they're gonna have a earthly kind of threat, and they're gonna have a cosmic threat,
which makes sense.
And both of those like post credit scenes kind of told me they're going through both routes, as in they can go through it kind of like smoothly. Yeah. The only reason why is because them having Sword, they're going to have to use Sword at some point. Even if it's not Sword, even if it's just Nick Fury's version of how he protects the world like from galactic like attacks. In my head, I was just like, okay, so what they're doing is they're telling the audience there's going to be a threat that's way too big. Yeah. Because if they have all the Skrulls and they have all of them, I'm not like, and they have this defense system up, and this defense system is going to be way better than they've had in phase 1, 2, and 3. In my head, it means all the phases after that and everything after that is going to be bigger, because we know for a fact that's not going to stop anything. No, as soon as we see it, we know it's not going to stop anything, because then we wouldn't need the heroes. So it means they're going to have to deal with some really, really, really big things in terms of for that to happen. But the fact that they're still dealing with Spider-Man, even though a big reveal that he's like his secret identity is getting revealed, it's telling me there's both avenues that they're going to have to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely.
And about the secret reveal, in my heart, I would love to see this. I just know it won't happen.
Go for it.
Is Daredevil and Matt Murdock coming?
Okay. I remember you talking about this yesterday.
And representing Spider-Man. I don't think it would happen. I have qualms because, as I said, they kind of like deleted and cancelled all the MCU's TV shows.
The Netflix TV shows
on Netflix. And in my head, I was just thinking, why would they do that? So there was 2 possible avenues I had in my head, even when I was going. Is one, they're either gonna use that for their streaming service, which is the Disney, and then put their shows, because Daredevil and Punisher was too lucrative, and Jessica Jones, even Luke Cage, they had too much of an audience, even though they weren't doing as great on Netflix. But it was still up there, as in it was still doing better than a lot of shows that are on Netflix, and it was still making Marvel money. So I don't have. Sorry for saying this, but Secret Service?
In regards to
that show, I forgot what it's called.
Oh wait, I'm thinking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. How that's still,
I wouldn't have remembered the name either.
That's awful. Damn. I didn't say that. Anyway, no. But as good as it is, the critics and audience both agree that Daredevil and all those shows are way better than it. That's how it looks from the outset. So for me, for a show like that to still be running, but them to cancel that, it means they have a reason. And only 2 reasons come into my head: is for the streaming service, or they're gonna bring these characters in.
Which would be fantastic
into the MCU. And the most amazing way would have Matt Murdock represent Spider-Man. Because if we had kind of like in the comics of Daredevil representing himself to fight a case, basically how he's not Daredevil. If they had that with Spider-Man, that would be amazing.
But to piggyback off what you just said, because I know like there's a comic book storyline, or there was like an angle where Peter's identity is revealed, and then like Doctor Strange, I think it's like Doctor Strange and Reed and all that come together to basically like craft some spell that makes everyone forget that they actually heard and saw who Peter's actual identity.
They would never be able to do that.
I don't want to see that. So my question is to you: where do you think they're going to go from here? Because all I'm thinking that I'm hoping for is that we kind of get an angle of like Spidey and Peter so vulnerable and literally on the run, where he has to try and protect everybody. Everyone's after him because they know who he is. But then you think, is there going to be more to that? What's going to come next?
You see, in my head, I like that, because I didn't even think of that, of him being on the run. I like that aspect of him. But in my head, as soon as his secret identity was revealed, it told me the high school time is done. And the only reason why it told me that, I just don't think you can have that reveal and continue. I think that's a lot of the reason why this movie spent a lot of the time in just a high school romance movie, where it was just in that zone. Because I feel like this is one of the last times we're going to get that from Peter. Because what I think has to happen now is he has to make a lot of big choices, ones that he ain't ready for. Like, what he has to do as Peter Parker in order to either to stop everyone from believing, or the choices he has to make. Because not only does he have to make everyone believe that he's not Peter Parker, he has to basically prove his innocence.
That's a very good point.
Imagine, for example, the Skrulls, the fact that the Skrulls were the one in charge and not Peter, and Happy's the only person who knows what actually went on. You never know. You could have other heroes after Peter. It might get to that stage, because we don't Nick Fury's not on Earth. The only 2 people who are Skrulls, and as you've seen in this movie, they're not as equipped as Fury to handle certain situations. They're good, but they're not as good to where they can stop a lot of other stuff from happening.
That's actually a really good point, because then you could then argue that there's nothing stopping Skrulls from basically transforming and showing their fake skin. Of, say for example, we have a Skrull that looks like Thor, or like a Skrull that looks like Black Panther. I feel like that could be interesting.
Like Secret Invasion.
Yeah, or in case like if maybe like it's where they wanted to, as you said, maybe give that front that people are here protecting Earth, even if maybe they're not, and people are absent.
The only reason why I don't think that would happen, and as an issue that we have today, funny enough, the reason why is because aliens have already been put in a bad light.
Yeah.
And I don't think they can do that after Endgame and the blip has happened where everything was on the cause of aliens. And I think that'll be an interesting thing to touch on because it is current. But where a small group of aliens, well not a small group, Thanos and his dons now came down and now came over and was now like, oh yeah, we're gonna destroy the whole Earth and succeeded in destroying half the population. I don't think even Nick Fury or any leader will be like, yeah, the next option is to now bring new aliens and be like, oh, these people are on our side now.
Yeah.
I don't think that would ever work.
Yeah.
And even if like MCU is thinking of doing that, I would like to see the repercussions of that because I don't think the people would trust that. Yeah. Even having Jonah Jameson have it there, I know for a fact he wouldn't be a big fan of that. And he'll be the first person to tell people you shouldn't be trusting the aliens because these aliens came down from New York all the way till now to destroy us. Yeah,
like even like just with what you're saying, I'm actually just getting flashbacks to how much I love this movie. Like especially the first half. Like I literally just getting flashbacks to that particular scenes. Like I really would love to see like I love that first half. Like just their school and like trip journey.
What I loved mainly was Mysterio. I loved when he changed because he was so charismatic.
Do you remember that grin where suddenly like Peter and he's like not as cheesy as that, but he has that kind of like grin.
Even like when he was there, he was just like, do you know how easy that was? He was just looking around and he was just like, what I loved about that was just like there was something about Gyllenhaal in this where he was just like so charismatic and he just seemed like in my head when I was watching it, I was now like if there was like an arrogant nerd, it would be him.
Yeah,
it's not
I
like
get that. Yeah.
It's not like he's like everything about him just seemed like snappy. And what I loved about it was the fact that he was in a mocap. He was in a mocap suit, which I loved.
It was very faithful to the comics, like classic Mysterio.
Like what I loved was the fact that if there was a person who done what Mysterio does in a comic book, he would be in a mocap suit because there's no other way they could do that.
Yeah,
it was using real technology, which I liked, and I liked how he thought of everything.
Yeah.
Which I really, really liked. And what I liked about him, by the way, like, you see Doctor Strange's, like, sequences through the thing.
Yeah.
Mysterio beats that by 1,000.
Yeah.
Like, the sequences that he takes Spider-Man through in this is, like, mad. Like, it's crazy.
CGI, once again, for this movie, undefeated. Apart from the Skrulls. I hate how the Skrulls look, personally. Damn. I think the CGI looks really bad for the Skrulls, but across the board, like, Marvel are undefeated with CGI, and it looks fantastic.
No, but their whole dream sequence was amazing. Like even Gyllenhaal just like talking to Peter while he's in there, I was just like, this is crazy. I don't know what's coming next. And every single second, it was just like changing from scene to scene to scene.
I have to shout out Happy and Aunt May because they're just, especially Aunt May. Like we were talking about, there's a shot when you see Marissa Tomei in like some skinny tight jeans. I'm just thinking, damn man, I was like, okay, this is it. However, the one question I do want to ask is in terms of, you know, like that first post-credit scene is essentially the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And we noticed in our screening that people, I don't know why you would do this now that people are accustomed to Marvel movies, but people left after as soon as the credits started rolling.
Yeah, I don't know
so you miss, but then I'm thinking if you miss that first post-credit scene, you miss the true end of the movie. So I feel like that could lose you afterwards, but then I'm guessing for people who do decide to leave before the post-credit scenes roll, they probably don't care that much anyway. Yeah,
like, even leaving a Marvel film before the post-credit scene, you know what you're doing to yourself.
Yeah.
Like I don't like it's been in our lives for way too long for people just to be like, oh well, nothing's after this,
true,
and then just walk off.
It's true, but one thing I want to do to slowly wrap this up is in terms of overall review and a score out of 10, what would you give it?
I would give it between a 7.5 or maybe an 8.5.
Okay.
It might be an 8.5. Okay. It rose in my head. Like a 7.5 is really good, but I think just an 8.5 when I think of the arc. And the only reason why because initially yesterday I was thinking about how this movie felt really episodic. And what I mean by episodic, it felt like this was an episode in the middle of a long series.
Yeah.
And I didn't mind it. I honestly didn't mind it being episodic. but I knew it has drawbacks from it being episodic.
Yeah.
And what I think, like, after I watched it, is it benefits from it being episodic in the fact that you see the long game within it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because after Endgame, you don't really see where it goes. And with this movie, it kind of sets up really, really well on saying everything's gonna change.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything, like even the Skrulls having control over like Nick Fury and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like them being the main force in the world right now, while Nick Fury's up there doing what he's doing. Like that tells me like this world is completely on its head right now, and you can't really expect anything that you're going to see in the MCU.
Yeah.
Because right now they can literally do anything right now, and that got me excited. So yeah, it's a hardcore 8.5.
Yeah, and to your point, I think that's the thing. After this movie, you leave going, I don't know what's coming next, which is always fantastic because it makes you, as you said, that episodic element. Like the point of episodic TV is that you finish watching the end of the episode and you can't wait to see what happens next in the other one. And I think to your point, that's exactly like how you feel in regards to this movie. I'm like you, I'm going to go for a solid 8. I'm even thinking of 8.5 as well, but I need to watch it one more time. But as I said, I absolutely love this movie. Like, this is a true Spider-Man movie. Like, it's a Spider-Man movie, and that's what makes it absolutely fantastic. We didn't touch on this, actually, but real quick before we wrap up, Flash mentioned about his mum wasn't coming to the airport.
I need to look into that.
It
seemed too weird. It seemed too weird.
There was a nice little maybe Easter egg something in there.
It seemed too out of place because I know, as I said, I know Ned's dad is a villain,
and Ned ends up becoming like a villain as well, right? In the comics, I think I heard about that. Yeah, like Hobgoblin.
It's Hobgoblin, yeah. And we haven't seen Harry in this world.
Good point, yeah.
And we haven't seen Norman Osborn in this world, who I want to see in this world. I really want in this. I think he was slotting right now post Endgame really well.
And we mentioned yesterday, like, imagine if like Kraven came in the next movie and Spider-Man's on the run and Kraven is like one of the people trying to take him down, killing members of
Kraven would be an amazing villain for where if he was on the run and you needed someone to hunt them down, and the government, because as I said, Nick Fury not being on Earth is major.
Yeah,
because there's certain things Nick Fury can do that I don't think the Skrulls are capable of doing, and you could see in this movie they're not capable. They're not as capable.
Yeah.
So having the government on the hunt for Spider-Man in the next movie is amazing.
Yeah. One last question. We will, do some Comic-Con predictions for San Diego Comic-Con in the coming weeks, but do you feel like there's going to be any hint in regards to Spider-Man's future in their Hall H panel at Comic-Con, or do you think they're going to stay away from it?
I think there would be a slate.
Yeah.
However, you see Spider-Man in that slate, but it'll be untitled.
Yeah.
I think that's literally I think that's literally what we're gonna get.
Yeah, that's smart.
And I think we're just gonna have to see in the next MCU movies to kind of. I can't really think of an MCU movie right now which I think is gonna be grounded in Earth, except for Black Panther, which I don't think we'll get anything on Spider-Man on in there. And maybe Doctor Strange might be the next time we hear something about Peter, we see Spider-Man in that world. Because only the fact that his main sanctuary is in New York. That's the only reason why. So if we're going to get anything, because all the other ones are intergalactic, are out of this world. That's what I mean. Like, there's not a lot of actual earthly heroes right now, except for Black Panther and
that's a really good point.
We might even... Interesting fact, I believe we'll get it in either Falcon or
in the TV series.
Series, I think
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I think we'll hear about Spider-Man's kind of like where he's at in the
TV
would be
sweet.
series.
Nice way to tie things together as well. Man, this movie, incredible. If you haven't seen it, see it. Go and see it.
Yeah.
We gotta see it again as well, man. Absolutely incredible. So you're gonna go with between a 7.5 and an 8.5.
Yep.
I'm going for solid 8. So guys, thank you for tuning in. That is our Spider-Man Far From Home spoiler-filled review. If you like this and you like this video and you want to see more, we're going to have tons of stuff coming more. As I said, coming in the future. We're going to do some Comic-Con predictions. We're going to be reviewing other movies coming out. So just hit that subscribe button and even the notifications button as well, so that way you can stay tuned with what we're discussing. Jump down in the comments as well if you want to add anything to the conversation, because we're still willing to talk about this movie because it's absolutely incredible. But as I said, that's our Spider-Man Far From Home review. Thank you for tuning in. My name's Cameron Kelly Smith. This is Bonnie Fonseca. Have a good day.